Get to the chopper now! When it comes for playing with a helicopter, there are a lot of different options. However, the Sky Helicopter is I think it's like 12 to 14 bucks. You can find these things. You can find them in local shops over here, but also you can find them on AliExpress. It will be fun to check out all of different kind of these tiny helicopters to see which one is actually fun. Because when it comes to these devices, there are actually kind of more like the stepping in models. Because flying a helicopter in RC, in my opinion, it's a completely different level. If you're going to be comparing this to RC boats, RC cars, because this is going to be so much more complex. And of course, it's going to be a very big learning curve. So maybe it is going to be a lot of fun to have this basic RC helicopter. However, when it comes to these smaller ones, one of the things you need to take consideration is that there will be built-in lithium batteries, and that is super convenient because let's be honest, how are you going to be squeezing in another battery in these things because they're so small? But the overall, let's say, playing time is quite short. I think it will give you around like 5 or 10 minutes of time, depending on the overall quality. And also, when I've noticed, if you're going to be playing let's say the 5 minutes, let's say you're going to be flying, you will notice in the beginning it will have like a lot of power. So, in my opinion, it's quite difficult to overall control. But if you're going to be progressing to the 5 minutes, you will just actually see, but also feel that you do miss a lot of power. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag when it comes to the overall gaming experience, but let's do a quick unboxing because these things are all like a pain in the ass to get out of these, let's say, boxes. The communication method is really old school. I think it is like old school IR if I'm saying it correctly. So when it comes to communication of the Speed Eagle controller or remote with the tiny helicopter, this is not going to be super fancy. The package itself doesn't really contain any batteries, so we're going to be buying them separately. We're going to be needing normal batteries. I think they're like AAA for the remote itself. And what you're going to be doing is turning on the remote, then you're going to be turning on the helicopter. And this way we can actually fairly easy just start playing. It will automatically connect if everything goes supposed, let's say, the plan. So the helicopter itself, there have like all kinds of different variations, price points, and you can see the overall build is mainly plastic. And it's not a bad thing. Of course, it's super lightweight, it's easy to produce. And if you're going to be crashing into something, you don't need to be afraid that the helicopter will just start breaking with some certain parts because it's very flexible plastic. So I must say that when it comes to this, it's an easy helicopter to actually start flying normally. And of course, if you crash in it, you don't need to be afraid of buying another one, even if they're like cheap. Nevertheless, let's take a close look at it and let's see what you can all do, because the back rotor is not controlled. That is another option with more expensive ones. So this is actually manufactured, imported by Spectron BV. There's a Dutch company over here, because actually I bought this one from the Action. Some information: 5 volt, a 300 milliamp battery is in the inside, need to be charged by a micro USB at the bottom over there, and loading time, it can be a couple of hours. Or I think it was like 2 hours or so. And nevertheless, so if you're going to be looking at the playing time, you need to wait a couple of hours for being charged, and you can actually have like 5 minutes of playtime or whatever. Like sometimes it's longer depending on the battery and also how much power you're going to be, let's say, using for flying. So what you need to do is lower it, put it in the top over there, and then you can actually communicate with the RC helicopter. So you can see, that's it. And let's connect it. You need to put it down in the 0 mode. Then you're going to be moving the joystick again, and you can actually see that it starts flying. So let's do a little bit of that, and let's see how I can actually manage to fly. And I can tell you that the communication, it's okay when it comes to that. It's old school technology, so you need to have like a short distance between your remote and the helicopter itself. But let's give a quick show how fast actually can load. What I love about this is that you can actually fairly easy move the helicopter to a certain speed. It will just stick into a certain position. And I think particularly with flying, it's going to be super easy. But the first thing I already noticed is that when it comes for flying, I actually see that it automatically goes forward. And that is quite difficult because normally you want to push the lever up and then they're going to be lifting instantly. And that is one of the things I did notice with trying to fly this freaking thing. However, when it comes for messing around with it, I can tell you that I was unable to fly this thing. With the simple reason, because if I'm actually going to be trying to fly it, it automatically just jumps forward and not upwards, and it's quite difficult. And I must say that the overall construction, I must say I'm really surprised by it, because I crashed it several times, like big time. See, the back rotor, I know there are some helicopters out there that actually have like a rotor that you can be using with the remote. And of course, those things like $5 more expensive than this, but this is like the bare minimum. So I just wanted to hold it. Let's see if I can actually lift it, see if it's going on. You can see that it goes all places. And for me, like, I've been playing around with these RC helicopters for some time now, but I find this one really bad to actually when it comes to flying, and the overall fun experience was quite difficult to find. I didn't have any recordings when it comes for flying because I couldn't get anything to go on. You can see that it just flies up but automatically crashed into something, and I was actually to expect to have like overall better, easier solution. But you can just do a little bit of tweaking from the remote. It does like have a lot of power. You can see it lift up very quickly. But getting it stable into the air, man, I find it absolutely impossible when it comes to that. So I would be fun to check out some more of these helicopters to see what's going on. If there are like a couple of them out there that are more expensive but more fun to play. I try to adjust it to see if there's anything I can adjust and get an overall better experience. But I didn't have any fun with this. It's more like one big frustration. Speed Eagle, nope, this is not for me. Thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, and it will be great to see you in the next video.